What up, YouTube? This is Richard here again, here to feature my new Shaddoll artifact deck profile for the 2014 September-August format. Pardon the shaky cam as I am filming this. As I say in all my videos, I don't have a tripod, so I'm holding it by my hand. But let's get to the important stuff of the deck. For those of you who don't know, this deck will come out in the next booster set, which will be in August 15th, so there's still a little bit of time before you can actually get it. It's one of the most anticipated deck formats out there coming soon, so if you don't understand what all these cards do, I will explain them. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. First up, we have, because this is a light and dark style deck, we have one BLS, because it is BLS. We're using Cephalin the Ultimate Time Lord because this deck revolves around Graveyard heavily. It's very easy to get 10 cards in grave to special summon him. He's 4,000 beater, and he's basically a monster reborn for your level 8 fusion monster. That's another thing about this deck, is that this deck brings back the synchros and fusion archetypes. It's so powerful how quick these fusions can get out. There's so many plays and so many variants you can throw in here. It's ridiculous. Next, moving on, we have 2 effect failures, 3 artifact moraltics, which are the only artifacts we will be using. Curry Bandit, only one Curry Bandit for grave, basically grave fill if you have him opening turn, because this thing works like Light Sworns. You're going to have a very slow first couple of turns depending on how your hand goes. Because if you don't know, these guys are the basic monsters are all flip effect monsters and sent to grave by effect monsters. And I'll explain by for the first 2, Shaddoll Beast is a level 5 that when he is flip summoned, you can draw 2 and discard 1, and when he's sent to the grave by a card effect, you draw 1 card. Next we have 3, Shaddoll Dragon. He is the MST of the deck. When he is sent to grave by a card effect. When he is flip summoned, however, or flipped face up, I'm sorry, you bounce a card to hand. 2, Shaddoll Lizard. Lizard is the pop monster card. When he's flipped face up, you destroy a monster, and when he's sent to the grave by card effect, you can send a Shaddoll to your grave. That kind of helps get your plays with your tuner, Shaddoll Falcon, which I'm running 3 of. I'll get to him in a minute, and you can also use his effect to get Dragon Engraved to pop back row if you truly want to. But I really don't use him that much. He's kind of like second hand. So he's nothing more than fusion material in my mind. But anyway, moving on, we have 3 Shaddoll Hedgehogs. Hedgehog, when he's flip face up, he gets your fusion spell, and when he's sent to the grave, you add a Shaddoll monster to your hand. And then finally, for the monsters, we have 3 Shaddoll Falcon. Falcon is one of the core engines of this deck. What he does is he's a level 2 tuner. When he is flipped face up, you can special summon a Shaddoll from your grave in face down defense position. And if he is sent to the grave by card effect, you can send Falcon from grave to the field in face-down defense position. He is a loot card. You can constantly get his effect off. Like I said, these effects are very spam related. The only downside to them is that each effect, you can only use one of the effects once per turn, and you can only use that effect targeting, like for Hedgehog and Lizard and Falcon, you can't target themselves with their own effects. But there are very little downsides, and the card effect discardings you will always do with your Shaddoll Fusion. It is a card effect discard, or send from field. This is your primary way of getting, well, your only way of getting your 3 fusion monsters out. It is a neat little fusion card that basically allows you, when your opponent has a monster from their extra deck on the field, you can use monsters from your main deck as fusion materials and send them to the graveyard. That helps a lot, especially if you don't have anything in your hand but this. So you're going to be running 3 of those, 2 Soul Charge, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 MSTs, 2 Super Polys. Super Poly is broken in this deck, simply because your opponent can't activate anything in response to it. You can use your own cards, you can use their cards, you can do anything. Super Poly is just broken in this deck. Next we have Facing the Shadows. It sends a Shaddoll to your grave and flips up any number of Shaddolls you have face down. Gets effects off pretty easily. Then we have 2 Mirror Force. I know they're up to 3, but you really only need 2. And 3 Artifact Sanctum to bring out the Moraltex. And finally, 1 Solemn Warning. Next for the extra deck, we have the fusions, El Shaddoll Midrash and El Shaddoll Nephilim. Midrash cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and he also says that neither player can special summon more than once per turn. And Nephilim, basically, when he's summoned, you can send a Shaddoll to your deck to grave, and if you battle a special summon monster at the start of the damage step, it pops it. Both of these monsters have the effect of, if they're sent to the graveyard, you can grab a Shaddoll spell or trap card, which would be your fusion. So it's another loop effect. Moving on to the Synchros, we have Leo, Star Eater, Goyo, Spark Dragon, Beals, Scrap Dragon, Black Rose, Armades, and Catastor. This deck also can run Arcanite Magician. I don't like Arcanite Magician. I don't like sitting on cards, especially when this deck is going to get used so much in the next format. You're going to have mirror matches, you'll be sitting on Arcanite Magician, and all they'll do is Shaddoll, and all mirror match will do is Shaddoll Fusion while you sit on your Arcanite. And just so you guys know, I have played many mirror matches with this deck. This is a hell of a mirror match. It's probably one of the funnest mirror matches I've ever had, and I can rarely ever say that about any deck I play. Moving on to side deck, we have 1 Max C, 2 DD Crow, 2 Soul Release, 2 Mind Crush, 2 Cursed Seal of the Forbidden Spell. A lot of decks are now spell heavy, like for example, like I said, mirror matching. If you have this and they activate Shaddoll Fusion, gone. They can't use it for the rest of the duel. You just stopped their whole deck. Tanky for other decks, gone. So many decks are spell heavy now. This card is very useful. 2 Royal Decree, 2 Overworked, and 2 Imperial Iron Wall. Alright guys, that is the deck. I will also actually be uploading a duel with this actual deck shortly, and I'll show you how this deck actually works. So give me your feedback on what you think of this deck. You don't have to use the artifact variant. Like I said, there are many other variants, like people use Mathematician and Dragons and things like that. But I do recommend this deck highly when it comes out. It's going to be one of the best decks you could ever use in the next format. All right, this is Richard signing off.